Hi guys and welcome to Vita Deditae Gaming. Me and Jake have decided to take on the ultimate task of trying to piece together the Kingdom Hearts games in a podcast which we are calling Kingdom Hearts Catch Up.
We're insane. This
is a hard task. We're very big Kingdom Hearts fans.
But I ain't got a clue what's going on.
We've played all the games. And this has been really hard. Like, so I hope you all appreciate this. Cause
I even replayed a lot of them to try and help me understand what was going on.
No. I'm at this point, I don't even think Square Enix know what's going on anymore. But we'll just try. We'll see what happens. Right then. Okay,
so we're going to start with the Keyblade War, which is explained in Kingdom Hearts X back cover, which is a little interactive. It's not even interactive, it's just a movie.
When they released the collections, I want to call them, for PlayStation 4, so there was Kingdom Hearts like 1.5.
Oh, they had ridiculous names. It was
and
like
then
1.5 HD remix remaster.
Yeah. And then the second one was called Kingdom Hearts 2.8, and it was a video that I thought just summarised the mobile game.
Yeah.
The X-Union Cross game. It actually doesn't, as we find this out, it actually is a companion to the game.
Yeah.
So, and we did not know this because none of us play mobile games. So, right, if you...
I've been trying.
Yeah, I loaded it up and I made a character and all that, and then I was like...
I've given my character like a little jazzy outfit with like a sparkly hat. And I've got a little dog thing that follows me around, but I don't know what I'm doing, if I'm being honest. This is the tone of this video.
Like, like if you've got to play 3 and you want to catch up, like, and you've never played any of the other games, it's so confusing. We're going to try and help.
Don't give up if it doesn't make sense, because we've been playing this game series since 2002 and we still haven't got a clue.
No. So, it's basically the Keyblade War.
Yeah.
So if you want to
take
it away.
All the way through all the games, you keep hearing about this Keyblade War, which happened centuries ago, apparently, but who knows. It's this big war, and what happened was everyone was trying to get Kingdom Hearts, which is this big collection of hearts. It's the source of all the light in the world. That had a protector in the form of I want to say it's pronounced Ki or Kai. I'm going to go with Kai so I don't get confused. Keyblade. And then there was this prophet guy called the Master of Masters who studied this blade and discovered a way to create a Keyblade by extracting it from a person's heart. The Master of Masters foresaw this like horrible war, which basically meant the apocalypse would start, and trained 6 apprentices, 5 of which were called foretellers and given control of a separate union to protect the world, and the unions were just a group of Keyblade wielders. So there was Unicornis led by Ira, Anguis led by Invi, Ursus led by Aced, Lepidus led by Gula, and Vulpes led by Ava. They're all a bit shady, I'm not going to lie.
The movie is one of those where, like, it's like Trust No Bitch.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm sure it's on YouTube. I'm sure you could watch it, like, if you don't have the collections, you can watch it on YouTube.
So they're trying to protect the light from the approaching darkness. So he gave each of them their own Keyblade, as well as a special role that they weren't allowed to tell anyone else. And his last apprentice, Lushu, really weirdly spelled, gave him a Keyblade which had a big eye in the middle. And that's the Master's gazing eye, which is what allows him to see into the future. So wherever this Keyblade goes, the Master can see. And he also gave him a mysterious black box that he can't open, but he does know what's inside. So Lushu just basically gets out of there, is off. And the rest of them just get on with their lives, pretty much, until
yeah.
shit hits the fan. So Ira, one day, his role was to lead the others. So Ira discovers a nightmare, which is a dark version of something called a Dream Eater, which, I'm going to be honest, I don't fully understand what they are. They eat nightmares, but nightmares only exist because they exist. Some weird anime rubbish like that, I don't know. So like, he discovers this nightmare, and then he's like, there's a dark thing here. Clearly one of us are evil.
Gonna remove our mushroom packet.
One of us are evil because we've got this nightmare like floating about. So basically they all start to distrust each other and conflict rises between the 5 unions. So Ava completes her task and gathers all the powerful Keyblade wielders who show resistance to darkness, and she convinces them to go into hiding. And she calls this group the Dandelions. I think one of the tasks was to uncover the mysteries of the Book of Prophecies. One of them was to like just spy on the others, which is pretty shady.
Snake.
That's the job that I'd want. To be fair. One of them was to support the leader, which he just didn't do at all. So he was clearly the crap one. So the unions basically all began to fight over the light. Some of them wanted the light for themselves. Some of them wanted darkness to overtake. Like, it got pretty messy. And that was the Keyblade War. And at the end of the Keyblade War, the Keyblade shattered into 20 pieces, 7 of light and 13 of darkness. And there's a lot of 7 and 13s in this game series. So without the Keyblade, Kingdom Hearts just straight up disappears. It's like, nah, I'm out.
I can't do this.
So after the battle, the world was apparently saved by the light within the hearts of children.
That's the Dandelions, isn't it?
Apparently. But like half of them were adults, so I don't know where they got that from. Maybe
the Dandelions like grew in numbers. Maybe the other Keyblade Masters like recruited. Because she sends like, at the end... Well, that could be true. That could be true. Science, people, science. Because she sends like at the end, you see like all the dandelion things floating, doesn't she? She's Snake. I don't know.
She's the one who started the Keyblade War in the first place.
This is the thing. You watch this movie, and all of them, all the leaders. Because in the game, you the first thing you do is you pledge an allegiance to one of the unions, and like. When you watch the movie, all of them just seem like snakes, and there's not what like there's
the
no
little one who starts the dandelion seems like the nicest one, and then I read on the wiki that she actually started the Keyblade War because she attacked Lushu because she wanted to know what was in the box, and I'm like,
why you do this?
Somewhere the Master of Masters is like, this is why we can't have nice things. But so basically, the kids saved the world. But not fully. So the one world was split into many disconnected worlds, which is pretty much the state that the games are in when we play them.
Yeah.
The battleground of the final battle was completely covered in Keyblades of dead Keyblade warriors.
You see that at the end of 2, when you complete 2, don't you, on the after credit scene.
And this world became known as the Keyblade Graveyard. So the remaining Dandelions, because they didn't fight, they all went into hiding. They vowed to protect the world from further destruction, and later worked to reunite the unions as part of the Union X, led by Ephema, Skuld, Brain, Ventus, and Lorian. One of them was a traitor, either Brain, Ventus, or Lorian, and they killed the intended other leader to replace them.
We don't know who the traitor is, though, yet.
And I also don't know how Ventus is there, because it's 100 years or so before Ventus was a 16-year-old child, so... Who knows?
We'll move on to that later.
The game hasn't finished releasing its content, so I don't know how that one ends.
Yeah.
It's just added an extra layer of confusion at the moment. That's all there is on the Keyblade War so far.
So it's essentially... There was... How many factions?
5.
There's 5 factions. All had a job to do. Broke down. Couldn't agree. Keyblade War. That's essentially...
Only one of them kind of did the job.
That's essentially like... That's all you need to know about that game.
Yeah.
It's how the Keyblade War came about.
And that there's this random apprentice like around with what's essentially Pandora's box, I imagine. And
we don't know who the Masters of Masters is.
No.
He's not been revealed yet. So, yeah, so, you know, that's tied up in a nice
I've got like
amiibo.
a whack theory that it's an older Sora.
I agree with this theory.
Like, my only evidence is they're both kind of really funny. They've got a similar personality.
Yeah.
And then I was watching the end of Dream Drop Distance yesterday, and Sora says the Master of Masters is his catchphrase. And I'm like, but...
This is what's happened to us. Like, trying to get ready for this.
But also so did Goofy, so it could well be Goofy.
We just, like, delved into this world of crazy crackpot theories. But, yeah, the world splitting, I think to keep in mind is when Sora and Donald and Goofy travel to the worlds, they're not supposed to let the people there know there's other worlds.
Yeah.
So they always try and blend in. I imagine the Hollow Bastion people know.
Yeah.
Because they're like the they're in on it. They're like Sora's little crew. Like, they must know.
They know. Well, they've been to other worlds.
Yeah,
so.
well, they come from another world, didn't they? But, like, that's why whenever... So, like, when Sora goes to Pride Rock, he turns into a lion. When he goes to...
it's not just for the aesthetic.
What's it? Like, King Trident's Kingdom, he turns into a merman.
Yeah.
Because he's got, like, blended... It's like some Doctor Who thing, isn't it? Kind of.
But then, like, he turns into a merman, and then he's like, by the way, I'm from another world, and Ariel's like, what?
But she thinks that the surface is another world in
True.
her movie. So that's just
true.
her, because she's 16.
And then King Triton's like, you just told her there's other worlds. Like, all the world leaders had an agreement. What are you doing?
Sora needs to keep his shit in check. But yeah, so that's the first one done rather successfully.
As successfully as we can, because they've just not finished explaining it yet.
That's what makes this even harder, because we're telling you what we know, but there's so much that it just isn't there.
Yeah.
So, right, so that is X-Union and X-Back cover.
Yeah. Okay, so the next thing in the crazy timeline is the rise of a man called Xehanort. Xehanort is the main antagonist of the series. I was going to say one of the main but I'll rephrase. One of Xehanort is the main antagonist of the series. He's got like 50,000 different bodies.
Now, this is going to, like, it's going to get confusing, but just stick with us.
Okay, so years after the Keyblade War, a young man on the Destiny Islands, which is one of the worlds, named Xehanort, was paid a visit by a mysterious cloaked figure. And we find out later that this is something called Anthem, Seeker of Darkness, and that is the Heartless of Xehanort's future self. So a Heartless is born from the darkness within your heart when your heart leaves your body. So, like, when you die, basically.
Yeah.
So his future Heartless travel back in time to give young Xehanort the ability to travel forward in time to gather vessels to house fragments of old Xehanort's heart to create an organisation that could recreate the Keyblade and restart the Keyblade War.
It's kind of like Voldemort having Horcruxes.
Yeah.
He puts himself into other people.
But his Horcruxes are all himself and thrown throughout time.
Yeah.
Just to add a layer of confusion. Because, you know, time travel makes everything make sense,
So
right?
there's Xehanort. There is older Xehanort.
Yep.
There is the Heartless version of Xehanort.
The Heartless. The Nobody version.
Yep.
There's... Okay, so there's only been 6 revealed so far, and 2 of them are from the old organisation that have just been possessed.
Okay.
And then there's 6 other ones who just haven't pulled the hoods down yet, so we don't know who they are.
Oh.
And then he wants Sora to be the 13th one, but he just can't seem to do it.
It's like Supernatural.
Yeah.
You know, when the devil's like... It's Sam, isn't it, with the angel? He's like, let me in, Sam. And Sam's like... Nah, bro. No.
Pretty much.
No, it is the devil, isn't it? It's Dean, and they're just like, let me in, let me have your body. And Sam and Dean for the whole season are like, nah, bro. That's what Sora's been doing for like 20 games.
Pretty much. So basically, young Xehanort travels through time, gathers all these vessels, and then returns. Loses his memory because he travelled through time, and that'd be weird. But he carries this subconscious desire to become a Keyblade Master, so he can go through all the stuff to send himself back in time to blah 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 blah. So he travels.
That was such an in detailed explanation.
He travels to a world called the Land of Departure and decides to train along his new friend, who is called Ericus, which is square backwards.
That's Leon and Noel all over again.
Literally. So their friendship, it's going great. They're like bros, they're BFFs, and then Ericus is like, darkness should be eliminated. Like, what are we doing? We need to get rid of it. And Xehanort's like,
do we though? Do we, bro?
How about no? And then they're not BFFs anymore.
Okay.
That's the backstory behind Xehanort.
That's some very interesting and confusing stuff going on
Only
there.
gets worse from here.
So, summarise. He comes back from the future to give himself
the ability to go forward in the future.
Yeah. To split himself into multiple vessels.
Yep.
To what end? To just become
It
more
just
powerful?
wants to restart the Keyblade War. I don't know why.
It's probably something to do with just taking over the world. Because in these kind of games, that's... He probably just wants all the power for himself.
It's so that at the end of Kingdom Hearts 3, it can become a really elaborate 13-stage boss battle.
Probably, yeah. Yeah. So there's multiple versions of him, all going on through all the games.
No, time travel in Kingdom Hearts has very specific rules that I had to look up yesterday.
Okay.
Because I didn't understand how it was possible.
Okay.
So you can only travel back in time if you existed in that time and place.
Oh,
so
okay.
to travel back in time, Xehanort's Heartless would have had to go to Destiny Islands and then travel back in time.
Okay.
And he could only travel back in time to places when he was in that exact place.
That is very complicated stuff. I don't remember what I did yesterday. How would you remember what you did all them years ago?
And it has to be like a form of you. So he could time travel to where his nobody is.
But he could, so older Xehanort couldn't travel back to younger Xehanort. It had to be a Heartless version.
Yeah, because
it can't be the same version of
your
yourself.
heart has to leave your body for you to travel, I think.
Okay. There you go then. That's a new layer of madness.
Yeah. They add all this stuff to try and help explain, and it just adds more confusion.
I feel like what happened with these games was they had the base games and they wanted to add to the story, and in adding to the story, they tried to fill in plot holes and created more plot holes, and that just spawned more and more games. And so they kind of had, it's the Rogue One. It's like, what was that hole in the Death Star? Well, let's spend millions of dollars on fixing it. That's what I feel like this whole thing is.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
If you like that video and want to see more like it, then click this playlist button here. If you happen to want to subscribe to us and check out all our content, then click this amazing, sexy button right here. Look how enticing it is. You know you want to click it. And if you're already subscribed to us, well then you are already an awesome human being.